There. Calm down. No. Just say you're sorry. I'm sorry. You're sorry who? I'm sorry, Mouse. Now, don't you feel better? No. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, welcome to The Bottom Line. I'm Mike Noland, and tonight my review of the 2021 movie, Dune. Of course, as I said before, I'll be reviewing that movie based on my love of that novel. As I've said, I've considered that novel as one of my 7 hollowed science fiction / fantasy novels. And if you want to get right to the review, I'll be sure to put a timestamp in the description box. But first, a quick shout out to all of our brand new Tribal Council members. We've picked up an additional 6 for a total of 126 subscribers, and we are so grateful. Just a quick reminder that if you get any value out of this video, please give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. All you have to do is hit that subscribe to the tribe button, hit that top bell notification, and you'll be notified of all future videos. Of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't give you an update on my mouse problem. The mouse case has arrived. Now, one of the things I noticed automatically when this arrived is the box is much thinner than it was when I bought my original Limitless walnut phone case for my iPhone 11. And the iPhone 13 Pro Max has a totally different body style from the 11. There may be some differences. So let's take a look. There it is. We'll open. Easy opening. This is your life without limits. Let's hope so, okay? Let's take a look at this. Oh my goodness, take a look at this. There's the original design that I fell in love with my iPhone 11. Okay, nobody sees the studio floor. Oh, anyway. Let's take a look at this. Clearly marked MagSafe area, and of course a recessed area as well to tuck away your little tool device for removing and adding SIM cards. So here's my old case for my iPhone 11. My wife was kind enough to glue it back together, but not well enough to last even a half hour in time to keep it together. We did this just to show you how it originally came. And I also think I recognize part of the design flaw with this original case. You see, the iPhone 11 was a more rounded phone. Starting with the iPhone 12s, Apple went back to that nice design we had grown to love with the iPhone 4 design. Now, with the more rounded design and larger phones coming out, case companies like Mous had to adapt. Now, take a look closely here and you can see the entire inside is almost like a tire that needs an inner tube to fill it. And basically, that's exactly what the iPhone 11 did. Now here's where I think the weakness occurred. If you take a look here on the sides of the phone, here on the bottom as well as on the top, from the center, there's almost a flare from the center bowing out to each side. And this obviously was designed for when the corners of this phone would drop. Seems like a good solid design. Except that I think the rigidity of these corners worked against whatever they got to glue this piece on top. Whether I'm right or wrong, I wound up with a case approximately 6 months, not even 6 months old, that came apart, well, 2/3 of it in my hands, just like you see here. Now this is the new improved mouse case, and we do see there are some design differences. There's only a hint of a bow here on the sides, but in this case they don't yield to a corner that was more designed to be a bumper car more than anything else, let alone a drop from a balloon 300 feet in the air like Mous's commercials show. So we'll be keeping an eye on the corners, of course. Now the glue point between the sides and the back is about the same. The angle is slightly changed and may actually help retaining a strength on that corner that won't tax whatever super glue they use in this process. Gone is the nice furry back that you got with the original case, and instead inside we basically get the same inside that I showed you with my brand new Spigen $17.99 phone case for my iPhone 13 Pro Max. The entire width of the case is about as thin as the sides of the original walnut case for my iPhone 11. But with the new Limitless case and its thin design nearly identical to that Spigen case that we discussed in a prior video, I love this design. I'm also going to see how well this case fits with my Beast Grip Pro rig. You know, with the Spigen case, I didn't have to even remove my iPhone. I got great results. There is a slight bowing to the edge that the Spigen does not have, but I truly can't imagine the grip area of the Beast Grip Pro having a problem with this at all. So we'll continue to give you occasional updates concerning this case. I am aware that most reviews on YouTube have not been as harsh as I, and here's hoping that I just got the one lemon. Alright, that's about it for the update on Mous. Let's get back to my review. So basically, the book is set up far in the future where mankind's sciences have reached an apex. But there are ghosts in the future, ghosts of old religions with histories that reach back to our time. And these are very powerful ghosts, and they are known as the Bene Gesserit. Many in the galaxy call them witches. A good reading tells you that they have ties to older religions that date back to the beginnings of humanity. The galaxy is ruled at this time by a single emperor, and he's the one who rules over the great houses. Now, two of those great houses are even related. On one hand, you have the Atreides. On the other hand, you have the Harkonnens. Now, it's at this point that the Emperor makes a pretty surprising decision. The Harkonnens have been in control of the mining rights to the planet Arrakis. And as a result, the Harkonnens have achieved this massive amount of wealth that rivals that of even the Emperor. This in part is exactly why the Emperor uproots the Harkonnens and then assigns the planet Arrakis to Baron Harkonnen's cousin, Duke Leo Atreides. Oh, and by the way, what are they mining on Arrakis? They're mining this thing called spice. Now, spice just so happens to exist only on the planet of Arrakis. By the way, this is where the title of the book comes in. Arrakis is also known as Dune. And why not? The whole planet is a desert planet. Besides what the Emperor believes is just a handful of what they call Fremen, the planet's main population are giant sandworms that also produce the spice melange. The novel came out at a time where certain drugs were thought to have extra properties, perhaps even giving individuals mental abilities they could not achieve without them. And in the original novel, that's thinly disguised. The spice allows those who have the technology to fold space, thus controlling the entire galaxy's line of transportation. And so it's for this reason the planet Arrakis, aka Dune, is a prize like no other in all of the galaxy. The Emperor can't keep it, the houses would revolt. The Harkonnens have controlled it, and the Emperor, of course, doesn't like that. Now, the Emperor also has to worry about the Atreides. You see, the Atreides, though not as wealthy as the Harkonnens, have an extremely powerful army, rivaling even the dreaded Sardaukar of the Emperor himself. So basically, we have a book that doesn't focus too much on that Emperor, and instead, we have a chessboard. The chessboard is Dune. The white pieces, the Atreides, and the black pieces, the Aconans. Now you remember those Bene Gesserits, right? You don't think that they're just sitting around twiddling their witchy thumbs, do you? You see, they too partake of the spice, and it has enhanced their abilities to prophesy. And for centuries, they have been prophesying a male heir that would set them all free. It sounds familiar, right? It's here that we see why some people call them witches. You see, for centuries, they have been infiltrating the houses in power. One of them even serves the emperor himself. The Bene Gesserit's bodies are trained so specifically that each woman can choose the sex of her child. And for centuries, the Bene Gesserit have directed the women that they have sent to the houses to bear only females. So there must not be a whole lot of faith in their prophecies. They're actually trying to manipulate everything to make their prophecies come true. And one of the women that they have served is Duke Atreides' Lady Jessica, his official concubine, who has begat him a son. She wasn't supposed to do that. But her love for her Duke was so powerful that she knew he wanted a son more than anything else. She chose to disobey the Bene Gesserits, and she gave her Duke an heir, his son, Paul Atreides. At the outset of the novel, Paul is only 15 years old, but already with that thin, wiry body, he is a deadly fighter. He has been trained by soldiers who have taken and killed Sardaukar. Remember, the Sardaukar are the Emperor's special forces, his so-called futuristic Green Berets or Navy SEALs. As the heir to Duke Atreides, educated by a mentat, a human computer, two of the finest warriors in the galaxy, and taken care of by one of the finest doctors, Dr. Yui, but his education doesn't stop there. You see, over the years, Lady Jessica, his mother, has been training him secretly in the Bene Gesserit ways. Of course, the book introduces many characters. A housemate that works for the Atreides there on Dune. A Dr. Kynes, who is the Emperor's representative. Dr. Yui with imperial conditioning, guaranteed to never betray those who he takes care of. Duncan Idaho, one of the finest fighters in the galaxy. Stilgar, a leader of the Fremen. And eventually, Chani, a young girl that Paul would eventually fall in love with. In only a couple of chapters, the entire Atreides family has moved and taken possession of Arrakis, aka Dune. And I'm grateful that the movie opened up pretty much right on target. The cinematography is magnificent. The movie's sense of scale is a wonder. It boasts a host of popular actors at the very top of their game, all of them turning in solid gold performances. The director's vision, for the most part, does not conflict with the novel, and instead of the inner dialogue that we got with the original movie from the 80s, starring Sting, but it's important to note here that inner dialogue that everybody criticized in that movie was exactly how the story unfolds. 80% of the dialogue in that movie occurs within whatever character the story's focusing on at that time and their thoughts. That's what really turned me on to this novel. And for the most part, inner dialogue is handled in a Hollywood traditional way. Someone mutters under their breath. Someone says something that someone was thinking in the novel, but they write an entire dialogue around it to get the thought out. This part of the film felt a little cardboardy. And it's in these moments of dialogue where maybe the film falters a bit, where the dialogue just feels a bit stilted, especially when it's just included for exposition anyway. I think your modern audiences are sophisticated enough to know when they're being directed in expository dialogue. But this is a very minor criticism on this film. Perhaps my biggest criticism of the film rests on the fact that the original novel is chock full of powerful, interesting female characters, and why the director felt that the director needed to not only switch the sex of that character, but it's many of the male characteristics of a salty, older disillusioned male character losing his connection with the emperor, gaining respect for outsiders, and him going native. Now, if the novel, like the early Foundation novels, was written at a time didn't write strong female characters, either due to the decade they wrote the novel in, or the fact that they were probably closer to being a teenager at the time than they would be decades later writing the rest of those novels. Blessed be Isaac Asimov. This story is chock full of powerful female characters, and I feel that the film just robbed us of the flavor of that character. I'm also not a fan of the fact that the film did not even bring out that this is only part one. Oh sure, when you show up to watch the film they tell you it's part one, but nothing in the trailers that I recall. And so we see the story stall out at a critical time in the novel. Now there's been talk because of slowdown in theater attendance that there might be a danger that part two will not be filmed. I don't know about that. The film has received very positive reviews, has done as well as it possibly could this year, and I just can't help but feel there's been some money stuffed away in a kitty somewhere. So until I hear different, I'm going to assume that in 2 years we'll get part two. Of course, part three would be Dune Messiah. Out of the Dune series, these are my two favorite books. Dune Messiah is a shorter novel, but just as well written and intensely focuses on an older Paul. So I'd give the film 4 out of 4 stars easily. Is it a masterpiece? It hinges on being a masterpiece. I can't help but feel that if the Kynes character was written as he was in the book, the movie would have been just that much better. But as far as recent blockbusters go, I think it more than holds its own. So the worm has turned and he's calling for part two. And frankly, I can't wait. So that's my review tonight of the movie Dune. If you enjoy this kind of content, if you got anything out of this video, please give us a thumbs up. And as I said before, consider hitting that subscribe to the tribe button and hit that top bell notification and you'll be notified of all future videos. I'm already reviewing the series Foundation based on my favorite series of novels of all time, barely beating out Lord of the Rings, I might add, and that is Foundation. And boy, that review isn't going to be anywhere near as easy as this one. This is The Bottom Line. I'm Mike Noland, and we'll see you on down the road.